Hello, this is Running Robert, and today we're going to be talking about the Protalix BioTherapeutics PLX summary for the 10th of July 2023, in which we're going to be looking at the bullish and the bearish parts of the company. So I generally follow small cap pharma, I do some games, I do kind of what I want or anything that you want to see. If you want to see something, leave in the comments below. And if you like what I'm doing, hey, please like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot, and thank you. The disclaimer is I did sell a decent amount of shares and options, well, all the options, but held a core position, which now included some $2 calls for January 2024. I did lose all my investment for some $4 calls for May 19th that they just did not work out because the stock never got that high. I am an amateur investor, and any advice given should be followed up by your own due diligence, and any information given is valid for today, the 10th of July, and this slideshow will not be updated, but as I get new news, new slideshow. Down below, you see, hey, I did pretty well with PLX, making almost 70% and almost a 200% gain. That easily canceled out my very small bet for the $4 calls, which were more of a kind of a Hail Mary bet. But it, like I said, it did not even cut close to that 200% that I got for my calls. So what has happened? So the company has received EU approval on the 8th of May, 2023, and FDA approval the day after on the 9th of May, 2023. Since then, the stock hit a high of 350, but has definitely fallen back down to earth. There really hasn't been any major news since then, other than the milestone payment being released. And there is a website up for the drug, and the company might be diluting the stock. And we're going to be looking at that when we're going to be looking at the cash position. So, does the company need to raise cash? So, in May, after the milestone, the company stated it had 51.6 million in cash. That's pretty much mid-quarter. The company does have 2024 notes due in the tune of 29 million. The company cash burn is acceptable. However, they will lose some money from their R&D services. So if you're looking at just what they could lose for the next quarter, it's a net loss of the 2.5 million was already their net loss for the last quarter, and 4.5 would be the revenue from licensed and R&D services. I'm not sure if there were any for the second quarter, but that's just to kind of give you a preview of what we're looking at. So does the company need money? So if you have $51 million left and you minus that from the 29 million, that leaves you $22 million left with about a $7 million cash burn if there's no sales or no revenue from license. So, or revenue from licensed R&D services. So cash is okay, maybe a little bit tighter than they want it, but it's okay. So what now? What are we waiting for? We're just waiting for sales. So with between 15 and 40% royalties on net sales for both EU and US, we will need to break down the cost of PLX and begin to look at them being able to break even in the future. Sales will hopefully be starting soon. I really hope they are. So currently, they only have a single analyst covering PLX. But they do have a rosy picture of the future as they have us breaking even this year and profit for next year. So if you look down, the one estimate has 60 million for current year 2023, and next year has 90 million. I want you to remember that number as we get to the next slide. So what do we need per year for sales? So looking at the 10K for 2022, looking all the year, we're going to assume that the cost of goods, R&D, and admin remain constant. Now, that's a little bit of a stretch to begin with because obviously R&D will be a little bit less. Selling in general might be a little bit more. So we're just going to kind of call it even. So if you look at that, they spent 19 million in cost of goods sold, 29 million in R&D, and about 12 million in selling, general, and administrative. So that's about 60 million. This is where the 90 comes in. If you look at the 90 for 2024, you don't need a calculator to figure out that's plus 30 million for the year. That is a really good start for 2024 right there. And if they hit that, we are going to be in pretty good shape. Of course, let's look at more math now. So, and the next two slides I've covered before, but we're just going to re-go over them. So now that we have 60 million in total cost, let's break this down even further. So we have $25 million in revenue from selling goods. 3 million of that was from Chelsea. So we're just going to call it 22 million. That might go up a little bit, but we're just going to call it safely 22. That's what we know. Revenue from license and R&D services, mainly from Chelsea. That is stated in the 10K. So I am just going to discount all of that. We have 60 million minus 22, which is 38 million. We have 15% royalties, which comes out to about 253 million in sales needed to break even for the year. That is not bad because current sales from the disease in the US alone are 2 billion. So you add Europe in there and we're in the $3 to $4 billion mark, and we need to sell 250 million to break even. Yeah. So any sales are really going to start to cut into that 38 million per year that we need. So like I said, I feel very confident that we will easily be able to make that and make profit for sure. So with that, I'm very surprised by the downturn for PLX. Obviously, when stocks go through approval phases, they always go up and they always go down, which is why I sold some shares and all my options. I knew that's something that would be a possibility, but you know, I didn't expect it this much. So could there be dilution? So, and it's a possibility. So I've looked between the averages, and they're only averaging about $2 million, 2 million shares for about the last 3 months. So I'm unsure about it. There's not, if there is, it's not a huge amount of shares being flown into it because you only have a certain percentage that you can. There definitely could be some, but we're unsure. The company could definitely have between about two and a half quarters and 4 quarters of cash remaining before any sales. That's just looking at cash burned, everything like that. We're not going to know that till we get a better picture of what's going on. So, um, again, there could be dilution. I'm not sure. It's probably going to be based on when Chelsea is going to start selling. So the next earnings are unconfirmed, but they're supposed to be around in mid-August. So we'll definitely have a video out on that. And so with all this, with all of this, the stock is definitely being depressed. Now I'm not sure why. If it's people wanting to get in, if it's the shorts, or if it's dilution, I'm not sure. I just know that we are definitely much lower than we should be. When sales start coming in, I think we're getting a good indication of this company based on the analysis, the one analyst, and what most of us think. I think we're in the right direction. So I will continue to be loading up on $2 calls and shares when they're a good price for me. So I hope this helped you get some information and hope to help clear some things up. So if there's anything you want to say or discuss, hey, please leave it in the comments below. But thank you very much for listening and watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.